guys, welcome back to my channel. I am a professional photographer and today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to shoot self-portraits. So I've done self-portraits a pretty decent amount of times. I've done them for 2 of my birthdays and then most recently I did them in May for a personal project I'm working on, and I feel like this last session was probably the best I've done yet at self-portraits. Takes a lot of practice and a lot of patience, but I'm going to teach you guys some tips and tricks to make it go by a lot smoother. So first things that you're going to need are 1, a tripod, and 2, an L bracket. But this is an L bracket. It's basically an attachment that goes in your camera because on majority of tripods you have to shoot this way, and in order to be able to shoot this way you have to have this. So you attach your camera right here onto this little screw on the bottom, and then this part slides into your tripod bracket. So this is really handy depending on which orientation that you want to shoot in, but I got this from Amazon. This is Sunway Photo. I believe it was probably like $45. One of the best investments I could have made for my self-portraits. And then obviously you're going to need a tripod. Unless you want to balance your camera on a bunch of random stuff with tripod, you can rent one from your local camera store if you don't want to invest in one. I was renting one for a while and then I bought this one I use now on Facebook Marketplace. 2 ways that you can approach taking self-portraits. You can 1, use a remote trigger, or 2, use the self-timer that's built into your camera. So you can use 1, a remote. So I lost the actual trigger component that goes with this remote, but basically you plug in like a trigger onto your camera through one of the, not a headphone jack, but there's a certain jack that you insert it to. So you're going to hold this to flash the camera, move the remote out of the shot, and then it'll count down from whatever second that you set it to, and then take a sequence of photos. I usually do batches, so I do maybe 5 to 7 photos in a trigger, so it'll just keep flashing so I won't have to keep resetting up each shot. And when I lost my remote this most recent time, I just did the self-timer that's actually built into my camera, my tripod setup and everything, and then I just clicked the actual shutter on my camera. I ran into place and I would just take the photos. I will say that method is a lot more difficult with focusing, especially because I shoot on autofocus and the camera won't trigger if there's not something to focus on. So if you're shooting in a studio with just a white background, which is what I was doing, it took forever. It's not going to just focus on the wall, so it'll just keep kind of going in and out. What I did in studio was I took a light stand that I wasn't using, I put it in my frame where I knew I wanted to stand, and then I focused on the object, clicked my shutter on my camera, then ran into place, moved the object out of the frame, and then stood there, and then that's when it started focusing on me and taking the pictures. If you were shooting outdoors, I would say it would probably be easier because you would focus on something in your background that your camera could capture and then just stand in front of it, versus in a studio it's just a white sink wall, so it's going to be difficult for your camera to just focus on that. Composition, it's so much harder because I just felt like I didn't have as much control because I wasn't behind the camera holding it. That just wasn't physically possible. So I will say you have to be a lot more intentional about setting up your shots, in the composition. You have to really know what I want in the shot. You have to know exactly where you want yourself. It's going to be a lot of walking back and forth, trial and error, and it's going to take a lot longer. I had originally booked a studio for I believe 2 hours. I ended up staying there for 4 because setting up in itself took probably an hour and a half of my time. And then I think I did 3 different looks because it's going to be very difficult when you're in the moment. You're going to be very flustered, I would say. I had watched a bunch of videos on shooting self-portraits, but once you're actually in it, it's going to be 10 times more stressful. So what I can say is come very prepared to take that load off your back, because if you're already struggling with the technical stuff, then you're going to be okay, what do I actually want to do? So have the creative down pat to just get that off your back, and then you can just focus on the technical stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any questions, comment down below. I'd be more than happy to help you guys. Subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.